Hello viewers, supergt here. I'm back at Whilton for another karting video. It's been a long time. So here's how this track used to flow with its old layout. Used to be a lovely corner, but now we have a brand new layout where we now have to turn to the right and use this brand new curb. Let's go and have a look. We have these very big curbs that have to be launched. Well, this one, you can't really launch it too much. And I haven't driven the new layout yet, so well, we have some practice to do. Let's go and do it now. Now this practice session footage unfortunately is a little bit shaky. That will be improved by the time we get to the race. But I just wanted to show you my first attempt here at the new section. And I must say that I was actually a little bit off the pace, much more than I thought I would be. Okay guys, that was the practice. My goodness, that was tough work. I was 18th overall, 9 tenths off the first place, so quite a lot of pace to find. We're going to jump into the first heat. Let's go do it. Okay, starting the first heat in 5th place on the grid. It's been a while since we were last in a Club 100 kart in a sprint round, but let's see what we can do. Away we go, green lights are on, in towards the first corner. Now is the usual melee here, as a couple of karts get run wide there. So we've gained a position, we've also lost a position, still in 5th. As we head up towards Christmas Corner, there's nowhere I can really go here, kind of hemmed in. We're going to have to try and ride the outside line and eventually settle into 5th place. So nothing really gained, nothing lost. Looking up the inside, we're going to try and go aggressive nice and early. I think a tiny bit of contact. We don't quite get the run on the exit, but we're still going to have to stay behind for the time being. But with that poor run through that turn, we are going to have the inside line here to then probably move up into 4th place. So now, a nice little gap to the karts in front. Need to try and reduce that deficit as quickly as possible. Now the top 3 all rather close as we go through this final sequence for the first time in the race. It's a really weird part of the track, and please do let me know your thoughts in the comments. As the guy in front pats the back of his head, he wants to work together, but I am not interested, especially if he's just going to run wide like that. As we therefore take 3rd place. This is looking good so far. We have 8 laps in which to try to move our way to the very front. And by the end of lap 2, or approaching the end of lap 2, you see I was definitely gaining here, as these two are going very aggressive against each other. Looking at the inside here, not really possible. And as you come into this new sequence, it pretty much is single file. You're asking for trouble if you want to go in there side by side. And so we just file in behind. It does make the move into the boot a little bit trickier. Looking for the move there, down into Ashby. There's contact between the 2 of them. It means I could get a run going through the middle of the 2 of them. 2 for the price of 1. A little bit wide there as I had a kart on the inside. But eventually, I don't get into the lead. That's Alex Pritchard giving me a nice little wave as he goes through. So he's gone from 4th to 1st in a corner or 2. We're not going to take that too lightly as we go through the sequence once again. Just trying to learn to ride that first curb and then keep it really smooth for the second part of that chicane. And I think that's the way to take it, but it's just really hard to judge properly. Now, I was in the mood for a nice dive bomb of the century here, so I just absolutely went for it. Look at this. Absolutely out of nowhere, got to the apex first. I mean, that's how it works, isn't it? Just dive bomb the apex. As long as you get there first, you can do what you want. As we then head down the hill, I did lose a position. I gained 1 and lost 1. But this is exciting racing, if you want to put it that way. We're getting a really nice run out of this corner. Looking up the inside, again, a massive dive bomb. And it's job done. Back into the lead of the race, where we want to be. And from this point onwards, this is lap 8 now, it was pretty comfortable. So it's really good to be back. It was a good race to reintroduce me back to Club 100 once more, as this is a series I've raced for many years. I think it's like 13, 14 years in total. But here we go, over the line to win the first heat. Now Club 100 have some very exciting news for 2025. We're going to be expanding the championship up to the north of the UK. There's going to be 5 tracks up in the north for cadets, seniors and juniors. Interestingly, when Lewis Hamilton was karting, Club 100 used to sponsor him back in the day. Lots of drivers can come from Club 100 to progress on to do some really good things in racing. Sign yourself up, club100.co.uk. It's an amazing championship. Get yourself involved and use the code SUPERGT. Does anyone recognise that barrier? Looks familiar to me. Okay, let's try not to do that in this race. This is heat number 2, starting this one 11th the grid. A little bit further back. We have one start towards the front, one in the middle, one at the back. This is my middle start. Here we go then. 8 more laps to try to do battle and move towards the front. Let's see if we can do it. I can't get and run wide there. Already up into 8th place as we head up the hill towards Christmas Corner, trying to seek out the space. We look for the outside, doesn't quite open up for us there, as the pack was quite spread out into that Christmas Corner there. Looking around the outside of Inkermans doesn't quite work out, so we settle in behind for the time being, now in 8th place. So looking up the inside now, this move is fairly on, I guess. I think there's a bit of contact through the apex. We'll see if we get a warning for that one. Up into 7th we go. Riding the curb on the exit towards the boot. Going slightly defensive there, a bit of track presence, just warning the cars behind. We are going to go defensive if necessary. And then through here, I mean, there's so much I can say about this chicane. You can see, as the day goes on, there was a tyre barrier on the apex, on the curb. It did get moved out of the way at times, so you did have to adjust your line accordingly. If it was available, if the curb was available, then you just take it. It does seem to be quicker, as the kart in front makes a big mistake. Up into 6th place with a tidy gap to the kart in front. We do have a couple of laps now to try to just reel in the karts in front. So we're going to move towards the end of lap 2, over the line to lap 3. Now going through turn 1 and 2 doesn't really feel too different, even though you are coming through the final corner a lot slower than you used to with the old layout. I do personally prefer the old layout, having now driven it for a couple of laps, a couple of races. It does feel a little bit clunky, a little bit clumsy, and the flow obviously is rather reduced comparatively. But again, please do let me know your thoughts on this new layout. It's been here for the best part of this year now, and I've heard mixed reviews. I think more negative, if anything, but it's always interesting to hear what people think about it. So now we've caught up with this group in front, I do need to try and get through as quickly as possible. Otherwise the leaders will begin to pull away and there's no chance of gaining if you take too long to get through. Through this section, not really any way through, just have to play it patient. And I think it's all about lining up a good exit to give yourself a good run through 1 and 2, and therefore a run into Christmas Corner. That's what it's all about. And I would say that is what qualifies as a good run. Not quite the straight line speed, but we are going to go for the move here, lifting off the brake quite late. Doesn't quite work out. I wasn't really as close as I would have liked there. I think maybe the top end of this car not as good as I would have liked. Just about the space opens up on the exit. There's the guy in front makes a mistake. Looking around the outside, and he does tuck in behind, so we move up a position. Took a little bit too long, I would say, to get that position. Now on lap 6, and trying to get that opening. So he defends it, but not fully. So the space was there. I am going to send it up into 4th. I mean, if you're going to defend it, you need to go on the white line, otherwise we're coming through. As the top 3, a bit of a gap in front now. I wasn't able to catch up, so it's going to be a 4th place. Starting 11th, I don't think that's too bad. Exhausted, guys. Holy hell. Yeah, it was actually a rather tiring day, given I haven't done karting in a fair amount of months. I've lost my fitness for karting to some extent. But into heat 3, starting this one towards the back of the pack. Once again, 8 more laps to try to move as far to the front as we can. Into the braking zone of Christmas Corner. Things go rather smoothly through here. However, going down the hill towards Ashby, this is where things are going to choke up quite a lot. 3 abreast, on the brake as hard as I can. It's just one of these things on the first lap where you're just going to get pushed on from behind. And there's not really much I can do about that. We're going to gain a few positions as a result. And it's unfortunate for everyone who's on the outside. Now, sometimes you just got to put yourself on the inside. If someone pushes you from behind, there's not much you can do. So, we'll see if the stewards say anything about that one. But I think that's a fairly common occurrence, it must be said. Especially into Ashby and sometimes into Christmas as well, on lap 1 especially. So we're just going to continue here. in 8th place. So a fairly tidy gain, maybe 5 or 6 positions on this opening lap. And it's actually quite a spread out race already. We're looking for this space on the inside. Just opens up. Guy actually points forward. Brakes really late around the outside. So we're going to have to take a couple of corners here to get this move done. Eventually doing so, moving up into 7th. At the beginning here on lap 2. At the end of lap 2, guy here doesn't quite keep a smooth line, doesn't protect the inside either. So the space opens up into 6th place. Once again with a bit of a margin to 5th. So these are the laps now where you just have to churn out some consistent laps to reduce the deficit, which we do pretty much by the end of lap 3 here on the back of 5th place. Like, once again trying to tee up that run over the line. We're going to give him actually a bit of a bump here over the start line to begin lap number 4. Try and get a nice flat out run through here. They were penalising you if you went fully onto the outside curb. That goes defensive once again, but as we saw in the previous race, unless you cover it fully and the space is there, we're going to go for that overtake. So that's 5th place. Yellow flag just being waved there. I think it's just been taken away at the last moment. I sense there's still a few positions to be gained in this one, as we are gaining with still 4 laps to go at this point. Heading towards Christmas. You see the cars in front actually fighting quite a lot. I do believe there is someone, a back mark here as well, as the car in front gets run wide. This is going to be 3 positions, or is it 2 positions, very quickly, as we actually lose one more on the exit, going a little bit too deep into that corner. But making some inroads here into this pack. Looking up the inside, I mean, that was a bit of karting rustiness. Going for a move that wasn't quite on. We're going to have to go defensive here. As we move to lap 6, can we do this again properly? That's the question. Late on the brakes into Ashby, heading towards the apex, carry the speed through. No such retaliation on the exit. As we now catch up for 2nd place. However, things are about to go wrong fairly soon here, as my chain actually comes off and I have to retire from the race. So that was looking really good for P2, but we're going to lose a boatload of positions and actually end up not finishing the race at all. I did bring the cart into the pit lane, however I was being pushed in. You can't quite see the pusher cart, but I managed to get back into the pit lane, and that would be an unfortunate end to what was looking like a really good race. That is so frustrating. The chain came off. It's just one of those things. Our grid start position is not going to be too good. Okay guys, 3rd in that race. I mean, yes, I had the chain snap, but they've given me the points, so I got kind of lucky there with the rules. That puts me 3rd on the grid for the final. That's not too bad for the first time I've been Club 100ing for about 5 years. But yeah, Joe Holmes on pole, Kurt Holmes 2nd, I'm 3rd. Let's go and do it. Okay, jumping into the warm-up of this final. Now the warm-up is actually a really important part of any final in Club 100. You have to go out onto the track and work out if your car is good or not. Now, again, given I haven't done this in a while, I was a little bit rustier with my decision making. Joe Holmes goes through here. Joe's the guy who's pretty much winning all the Club 100 races these days, and he just began to pull away quickly. Now, a lot of that is just, he's probably a bit quicker at the moment. But I thought, you know what, my car felt really slow out of that turn. I didn't think I was that slow. So I decided very promptly here to bring it in and get it changed. This is always a risky decision, but I went in, I did it. It is what it is. Let's see what the replacement cart is like as we move the camera over to the new cart, hoping that this new machine could bring me some greater glory than the old one. The disadvantage is that I didn't have any warm-up in this cart, so it was a bit colder than everyone else, but let's see what we can do here as we roll up to the start of the final here at Whilton Mill. Lights go green, starting 3rd, immediately down to 4th. Can we keep up with the front runners here? Obviously the heats are a bit more mixed up, and you're jumbled up with C2s and C3 level drivers. However, now much more mixing with the C1 graded drivers. Let's see if we can keep up towards the front as we head down towards Ashby. Already the race settling down and being stretched. by the Holmes brothers in first and second, doing our best to keep up here. I think we need to get this kart warmed up as quickly as possible. I did have that slight disadvantage by going into the pit lane, changing the kart, which was a bit of a rash decision, but we'll see if it pays off. It could do. At the moment, it isn't. I mean, I'm still in fourth here. I sense that I'm already being dropped. This is lap 2. And, I mean, the guy in front's kind of defending fresh air. But I'm not really able to keep up with these top 3. So the chances of a podium began to quickly disappear. And by lap 3, you can see the gap is maybe a second or a second and a half. And this is where the onslaughts began. This is where my decision was proven to be very much the wrong one. And it's something that happens in hire car racing. You make the decision, sometimes it's the right one, sometimes it's not. You see the difference in speed there down that middle straight. I just do not quite have the power. I mean, I'm going to obviously fully blame the kart, but some of this has got to be down to me not being quite fresh. Look for the return move there. I probably could have sent it, but by this point I kind of accepted my fate, that I wasn't able to keep up with the top guys. I didn't really want to ruin everyone's races by defending every corner. So it was a bit of a sorry race, to be honest. I was having fun, but I was going backwards and it wasn't too pretty. So I'm going to spare you all the detail, you know, as we do have a chance here of maybe returning some positions. It wasn't looking good though. By this point we're a good 10-15 seconds off the lead, so a long way off, and it wasn't quite the return I had hoped for. The heats were great, the final not so much. This is lap 11. We do have a nice little group here to try and fight with, and as we move on to lap 13, we get overtaken here by Adam Wright. Someone gets run wide, so we gain 1 position back, we gain 2, so that was about as good as it got in the remainder of the race. Starting 3rd, finishing 12th. Not an ideal race, but it was a very interesting introduction to this new layout here at Whilton Mill, and it's good as ever to be back in the Club 100 karts, a championship I've done for so many years, and perhaps haven't done it too much in more recent years. What do we say about that final? Not ideal. Shouldn't have changed my kart, but there you go, that's hire kart racing. But you know what, we had a great day here at Whilton Mill. It's really good to be back in Club 100. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please do check out the link below. A big expansion into the north of the UK for 2025. Check it out. But yeah, thank you for watching. See you next time.